It's a cold night in Montreal, but it's going to be a hot month for soccer or football fans around the world. Euro 2024 kicks off on Friday. For the Calcio Guys, it's myself, Nicholas, plus Gianni. Gianni is actually away in Italy, so we might not hear from him for a while, but I'm sure he's enjoying it. And we're joined by our good friend, Richard from Serie A Sitdown. Richard, how's it going?
It's going well. How you guys doing, huh?
Can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. Been busy with work. Been doing a lot, but happy to finally sit down and talk some calcio. Be very nice.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. As I said, it's Germany that kicks off the tournament, obviously in Germany on Friday against Scotland. Then Italy plays right away. I love it when Italy plays early in the tournament because then you get the nerves out of the way. They play. Was it already the third sets of games, fourth sets of games, whatever it is, on Saturday against Albania. So last week, Adriano and I previewed Italy's tournament. We looked over the roster and all that. But this week, I wanted to give more of a tournament overview. Obviously, me and Gianni, we have more limited knowledge of leagues outside of Italy. That's why we asked you. You are our Germany connoisseur. So at least because it's Germany, it kind of fits. But we'll all give our very valid opinions for all the teams. Right, Richard?
That's right.
Completely.
I'm glad I fooled you guys this whole time. You think I have this knowledge outside of Italy. I don't even have the Italian knowledge,
I mean, it's still knowledge, so it still counts.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, you also have Schalke knowledge, so you have some German knowledge.
True, that is true, I guess.
Gelsenkirchen. I said it right this time. I learned how to say it. Gelsenkirchen?
Very close. Gelsenkirchen.
Gelsenkirchen. Okay, that's where Italy plays on June 20th. Home of Schalke against
Veltins Arena, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start right away with the first group. Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. It's I'm not going to go out and say it's an easy group for the hosts, but like they could have had tougher, right? And so they get teams that, teams in Hungary. I think all three were actually in the last Euro, so at least they're experienced teams. Switzerland, they're always a dark horse, right? In these tournaments, they beat France last time out and ended up losing, I think, in the quarters. So as a German expert, like easily, Germany has the expectation to win this group, right? Right, Richard?
Yeah. I think a lot of pressure is on them to win the group, but yes, I would think so. Yes.
Is that what the reaction is, at least in the German media?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big tournament for Germany because obviously they put up some stinkers lately, and being at home, there's pressure to do well in this tournament. Obviously, having a group like with Hungary, Switzerland, and Scotland, it's a favorable one, right? If you look at it, it's not the group of death that we have, like the Group D, for instance, but it's a great chance for them to kind of get on a roll early and then kind of build that momentum, use the crowd to their advantage. Because I think, it's maybe a low hanging fruit here, but a dark horse in the tournament's got to be Germany just because they're at home. And we've seen it in how many international tournaments where the home team has that home cooking and it drives them deep into tournaments, whether they're good teams or not. Germany certainly could feed off the home crowd in this one, and a great way for them to start off in a group like this to really build that momentum. But they got lots of talent. They're a team to look out for sure.
Any thoughts, Gianni?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say that. I don't want to outright contest that point because it's such a strong team, Germany. I know there are the jitters at playing at home, but if you look at the previous tournament where they had the home field advantage being World Cup 06, they were extremely dominant. They played just basically the end of a golden generation for Italy, and it was down to the wire. It was just it was just a defensive lapse that costed them. And then the second goal was more they obviously had to
threw everything down.
They had to commit fully to offense to tie the game, and they got caught on the counter. I wouldn't even consider that Germany playing horribly. It's just you got caught with your pants down, essentially, for lack of a better word. So I feel like they're one of the few nations that do better when they're home.
Yeah,
prior to Spain winning the World Cup in South Africa, usually European teams just dominated whenever there was a European tournament. Whether we're not, obviously Euros are Euros, so European, like it's just they're in their comfort zone. I feel like it's hard to go against Germany in this tournament. I'm not saying dark horse call is a bad call. I'm saying it wouldn't be silly to bet on Germany is what I'm saying.
No, for sure. And I think it's funny with Germany is because if this is the German team of the past, like 4+ years ago, this is a different story. That was a super team, a juggernaut team under Joachim Löw. They were a machine. They were one of your top, 3 teams you're going to pick to win the tournament every time there's a tournament going on. But they're going through an identity crisis at the moment. And look, Joachim Löw is gone. Obviously, the experiment with Hansi Flick failed. And so they're now with Nagelsmann trying to figure themselves out. Who are they? They got a bunch of aging players and some new players and trying to mix it too. On paper, they are stacked. They are one of the most stacked teams in this tournament. But can they play together? And that's what we haven't seen really well in the last couple of years with them. Certainly home cooking is going to help. If you take the form of the last 3 years or 4 years, Germany has been playing the best out of anybody, but they're probably the most talented team. They're starting to get it together now under Nagelsmann, and they got some good pieces, both experience and new. And I think they're going to be certainly a team you have to keep an eye out for. If you obviously overlook them, they're going to make you pay. But I think a team that's very disciplined defensively, especially, and are clinical, they're going to make it difficult for Germany, no matter who you are. So Germany is an interesting team to keep an eye on, no doubt about it.
Looking at the 3 other teams, I think this is where the real battle is in this group. For second spot, even third place. Obviously, the 4 to the 6 top third place teams go through. But Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland. Hungary, they were in Germany's group last time out with, I want to say, France and Portugal, if I'm not mistaken, back in Euro 2020, and they were. I don't think they went through, but they were the dark horse. They were the team that everyone counted out, and they got some results in that group stage. So that'll be interesting. But I think for me, just based on experience alone, Switzerland. As I said, Euros, it always seems like they do better in Euros, especially than like a World Cup. This is a team you can't count out. Even if they finish first in this group, I wouldn't be surprised. That said, if I'm a betting man, I'm still going to bet on Germany finishing first. So for me, it's easy to say Germany, Switzerland are the top 2, but even Scotland, this is a team that, again, they're not even the best team in their own kingdom, right? But they they had a decent showing last time out.
Just lost a lot of Scottish followers with that.
Yeah.
Oof.
I wonder if any Scots listen to us.
If they do, if they did, they stopped.
Yeah. Omodi here. I said they had a decent showing. They tied once and lost twice against Croatia, Czech Republic, and England last time out. So maybe not. And then Hungary still finished last in their group, with Germany, Portugal, and France, but they got 2 points. So credit to Hungary for that group. So between those two, I think Hungary still has the advantage. But I think out of all these games, there could easily be an upset any day. This is really, besides Germany, the 3 remaining, it's pretty even.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is the battle for second place in a lot of these groups is going to be highly contested. I think this is one that you could really throw it many different ways. Obviously, Switzerland's going to be the one that, like you said, that everyone knows about. Obviously, now in Serie A, everyone knows about Jan Sommer, but they got so many different players from the defense, midfield, and the attack. This is a pretty good team. And every year, and we saw the last Euros, they gave everyone hell, and they pushed the Azzurri to the wire. On the Azzurri's way to winning the title. But I have questions about the Switzerland team, and I wonder, can they, as they normally do, when they get into these tournaments, they do play well, but they've been playing okay as of lately. Scotland, I think, of the group, honestly, I'm going to say Scotland's the worst. For me, I may be going on a limb here, and I may be picking. I think I'm going to go with Hungary finishing second in this group. I think they're a surprise team to keep an eye on. They've had some decent results over the last year or so. Yes, easier groups for sure, but they got some players on their team to keep an eye on. So I think don't be surprised if Switzerland maybe get off to a slow start, and Hungary get a surprise. I mean, it's gonna be tight between Switzerland and Hungary. I think Scotland, you never know with them as well. But I think whoever finishes third in this group is when it could be a team that you have to look out for. As far as third place teams moving on. But I like Hungary in this group to finish second. Honestly, I'm probably the only person outside of Hungary to do that. But yeah, I just got this feeling about Hungary this tournament. I'm usually a Swiss guy, but something about Hungary, I don't know. My guts tell me, pick them over Switzerland and Scotland. So I have to go with my gut, I guess, this time. We'll see how wrong I am.
I guess you could say you're not that hungry for Swiss cheese.
Wow, Nick. Wow. I think that's a very fair assessment. I don't think it's too far fetched to say Hungary finishing second, but I kind of went with Nick here, and I basically went with Switzerland second, Hungary third. They're a team that you really can't like Nick said it perfectly. Like Switzerland just does so well in Euros, and they're always a good team. They're never poor. They're never like horrendous either.
Yeah.
So I do see them as the second strongest team in that group. Now, obviously, in group stage soccer, you always get these surprises out of nowhere where these teams that you expect to do well don't do well. And these teams that you pick as the dark horse end up just screwing you over. So they just sometimes they just surprise you. So I think that Hungary assessment is a fair one. I think maybe they're going to be one of their stronger third place teams, but I think I see Switzerland finishing second in this one.
Moving on to Group B. This is one where we'll spend more time focusing on the group of death: Croatia, Spain, Italy, Albania. So as I said earlier, it kicks off on Saturday. Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania. Match day 2 actually is on June 19th, Croatia, Albania, and then on June 20th, Spain, Italy, and then it finishes off June 24th, Albania, Spain, Croatia, Italy. First, guys, let's focus on Italy since this is the Calcio podcast. How do you think? And we'll start with Richard. I mean, how do you think Italy will do in this group?
That's tough. I mean, yeah, I think in this tournament there's probably two groups of death. This is certainly being one of them. And the hard part about it is we don't know what kind of Azzurri team we're going to get. That's really the thing. We know what kind of Spanish team we're going to get. They're going to be freaking amazing. And Croatia, they're aged, but they got some world-class players on the team. I mean, Luka Modric at 49 years old is still, one of the better players in the world at his position. So it's hard to say what the Azzurri are going to do, but I trust in Spalletti. I, for the most part, like the selection of the Azzurri. And so the fact that I think their biggest game is going to have to be that last game against Croatia. I think the winner of that game takes second place. And that's crucial. The Azzurri are going to have to get a good result against Albania to get some confidence. Obviously, it would be nice to get some kind of maybe a point at minimum against Spain, but it's going to come down against Croatia. And I like this Azzurri. I like how we've been building as the tournament's gotten closer and closer. It helps to see a couple of the key players all of a sudden emerging, right? DiMarco's been great all year, but Scamacca and Chiesa in particular, they've gotten hot over the last month or so. And so can we use that to our advantage? Can that midfield surprise us? I honestly like the adding of Fuller Runshu. He could be an X factor that you just don't expect to. He's the guy who most likely will be on the bench most of the time. But Spalletti, Spalletti is smart with these substitutions at times, and he'll bring in guys that you're not expecting, and they usually flourish in this kind of situation. So it's gonna be an interesting tournament. How the biggest part of me, and I've said this for the last 2 years probably, is the defense is what scares me with the Azzurri. And how do we cope against teams that put pressure on us, in particular Spain and Croatia, will do that as well. How do we handle that? If we can handle that fairly well, weather that storm, it's going to be successful for us going forward, because I think now we have some pieces, at least in terms of form, up going forward, where maybe we can punish teams on the other side. So can we see that old Azzurri defense that we're so used to, growing up, or is this going to be more wide open Atalanta style, games where it's going to be a shootout? I don't know. So I'm positive in the Azzurri finishing second or third for sure. I mean, if you want me to tell you where I think they'll finish, I'll let you know. But I think they're certainly one of the best 3 teams in this group. It's just not saying much. There's only 4 teams. So.
I think basically what's going to happen is stereotypical Azzurri fashion, where they are going to draw against Albania, because to be one of those games, right? So, by the way, last Euros was an anomaly where they just happened to like dominate their entire group and go 9 points. I think it's the first time in my entire life I've ever seen Italy go 3-0 in a group stage. I'm probably forgetting. No, 98. I don't think they even went. I think they drew one game in 98 because that was the first tournament I remember. And I mean, I was 96. I was 4 years old, right? I mean, and 94 was 2. Anyways, long story short, like I don't remember Italy ever going 3-0. Now, so that's why I'm saying this group stage. What's going to happen is that they're going to probably tie against Albania, lose to Spain because it's typical. And then they're going to, like typical Zudi fashion, pull off this miracle against Croatia and finish second in the group. I feel like that's probably what's the very likely thing to happen. But I think we're in full agreement here that the clear number one in this group is going to be Spain, bar none. Spain is going through another good era of their team. They're playing so, like they just play so well. They have just good players all around. Rich said it perfectly about like defensively, can we really count on them? No, but cohesively, I think they're Italy's fine enough. I think Spalletti, as he did with Napoli, has this capacity of drawing water from stone with some players, and given what he's done with Napoli, I have full trust in the guy. I have full faith in him being able to do very well for the team. I think he'll be able to get them far enough. But I don't really expect them. I don't expect them to go that far, that deep into the tournament itself, because there is a point where the quality on paper will affect them. I don't think this team is a good team, but it's significantly weaker than our 2021 squad in my eyes. Like some positions are severely lacking to the point where it's like it can't even be compensated by strength from other positions. It's not like 2021 where because of our defensive play we were able to win the tournament. Like we're able to excel from there. Now it's at a point where it's like, not even our defensive play might be great enough to get us there. So in terms of group stage, I see Italy finishing second in this group.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. That's pretty much what I expect. And by the way, Gianni, I just looked it up. Italy went 3-0 in Euro 2000, and this is before your time, but Italy 1990. But you're right; it doesn't happen often. Yeah, looking at Euro 2000 was the first time before that. So you're right. 2020 or 2021 was the second time ever they went 3-0. A lot of people say they're historically slow starters. I kind of disagree with that because I think sometimes they start too fast. Think back even last World Cup, they had that nice 2-1 win against England, and then they crash out against Costa Rica and Uruguay. And so, what I told Adriano on the podcast last week was that for me, this Albania game is almost a must win, because if you don't win, even if you get a tie, like they're putting pressure on themselves to get results against Croatia and Spain, regardless of what happens against Albania. They need to get results against Croatia and Spain. But at least with 3 points, if they get 3 points against Albania, you're at least giving yourself a chance to at least finish as one of the top third place teams. Because last time out, one of the teams that advanced from the third place had 3 points. So you're giving yourself even the smallest of chances. I don't think they'll lose both games against Spain and Croatia. I think they'll probably beat Albania, either lose or tie to Spain. I expect a tie because these two teams always tie in the Euros before going to penalties. And Croatia, that's a tough one. It really depends, what's left to play for. It depends, who's healthy on both sides. You look at Croatia, they still have an older team. Are they going to be healthy by the third game? Even look at Italy, Barella, what's happening with him? Is he going to be playing? What's his status? So, if anything, it might be another tie against Croatia. But that, like you said, Richard, that pretty much is already going to be a knockout game.
That's the tournament right there.
It's already a knockout game. Let's put it that way.
So this is interesting because I think we're all in agreement. I think that Zuri probably finished second place. That's our hope, at least. I think Zuri needs to start off with a win, like you said, Nick. If we get a win, then you have a real question because we've seen Spalletti in situations where you have 2 games before decided, right? One where it's kind of a throwaway game because you think you're going to lose, right? I'm talking about the England game during the qualification where we didn't really have to put our best 11 against them, right? And then the game after, which was the important game. So say we beat Albania in that first game, what does Spalletti do in that second game against Spain? Does he keep going to best 11 or does he try to rest some guys that maybe are tired, aged, hurting, whatever, against Spain, try to have a decent result there, and then throw all the chips against Croatia and then go for the win there. It's going to be interesting what Spalletti does, but you got to win that first game, I think, first. Get things rolling, like you said, and then hopefully things will fall into place. And Spalletti does what he does in big games. So I'm curious.
Yeah, and for group winner, I mean, I say it's Spain. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, yeah,
Easily Spain. Easily Spain.
Yeah,
yeah. For me, yeah, if it's not Spain, it's Croatia because I don't see a scenario in which Italy wins the group.
No,
it's possible, but
so if Croatia win, does Zudi make it out, or did they make it ahead of Spain? That's tough.
Spain will either be typical Spain or completely choke.
Yeah.
Zero in between.
We've seen this in all the big tournaments, right? Like some big team that you're expecting to go far just chokes in the first round. Germany did it last tournament, right? And why not Spain? I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I think Spain wasted all those terrible tournaments like early on in their like lifetime. Yeah. Now that they're like, okay, well now we have experience winning, we know what it takes.
Yeah. So moving on, Group C. This is more of an interesting group: Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. It always seems like England gets.
I just realized Spain has 3 euros. My correction, listeners, I forgot. Spain has 3 euros. Right, I'm an idiot. Anyways, continue, Nick. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just realized. I clarified that. I'm like, I don't want to sound like an idiot.
All good. Yeah, it always seems like England has a bit more favorable draw. I mean, not to say that Serbia and Denmark aren't good teams. We know they are, but this is not Group B, Group of Death. But for me, the interesting game out of this one is Denmark-England rematch of the semifinals from the last Euros. And, Serbia is a team that for the last couple of World Cups and Euros, they're always talked about as a dark horse. Obviously, we know they have a couple of good players like Vlahovic, but they just haven't been able to get it together. I think they even missed, if I'm not mistaken, the last Euros. They were in the last 2 World Cups, though. So, yeah, for me, I think this group, it's, England's to lose. I think Denmark is, they could definitely give them a run for their money. But they also, maybe I'm just talking because they had such a magical run back in 2021 that maybe they won't even, repeat that magic. In that case, Serbia has to step up and get the result done. So, again, for me, England is in line to win, and it's going to be that battle. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about Slovenia. I think it's been a long time since they've even qualified for the Euros. Is Luka Doncic going to play? I can't name you one Slovenian soccer player. I'm not even kidding. Can you guys?
That's why they're a perfect candidate to finish second.
Jan Oblak.
Is he still playing? Yeah, of course, still playing Oblak. Yeah. There you go. To be honest, I forgot he was Slovenian. The last time they qualified was in 2000, and that was the only other time they qualified. So don't blame me. What do you guys think about this group?
It is an interesting group, no doubt about it. Obviously, England are the no-brainer to pick to win the group fairly easily, I think. And I say fairly easily. They win the group. They can get 9 points. I don't know if it'll be fairly easy. The question mark is the rest of the group, like you said. I mean, like each of those 3 teams, there's question marks. Serbia undoubtedly has the most talent of the 3 teams, I would say. And every year I'm picking Serbia because I think they're great and they're talented players from front to back, and then they just can't do it for whatever reason. I feel like that's going to continue. I think, as talented as they are, for whatever reason, they can't play as a cohesive unit. You look at some of the results that they had in the build-up to this, it's been okay. Meh, right? I mean, you can say all 3 teams, though. I think Denmark, same thing. They're not the Denmark of old. Denmark's those teams that got on runs. There's no Peter Schmeichel coming to save them or the son. I mean, the son's there, but whatever. But I'm going maybe just me tonight picking out like, all these random teams for second place, I guess. But I'm going Slovenia. I like the results that they've had over the last, based on trends for these last three teams. I think of the three, Slovenia's had the better run of form. Now, maybe say maybe the easier teams to go against, but goalkeeping defense is very important in these kind of games, and Jan Oblak is still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Not to say Serbia, if it's Milinkovic Savic starting or whoever starting for them, and Denmark, they got good goalkeepers as well. But Jan Oblak, he can. We saw what he did to Inter, right? This guy is still a legit goalkeeper, and he has any kind of defense in front of him. But you're gonna have a bunch of guys that most people don't ever heard of, but I think they can play as a team. They've played as a team up, this build up over the last year or so, and so I feel like they're going to surprise Serbia and Denmark and finish in second place. And I think Serbia finishes in third. I think Denmark is the team looking out, and Serbia is going to be a strong team in third. But I think surprised by Slovenia, and they surprise and get that second spot.
You heard it here first.
Only one out of Slovenia.
We always need a dark horse, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Ilicic is playing. How did I forget about him?
Oh yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah, and he's on the roster, so good for him.
Yeah.
I hope he plays.
I honestly think that's the perfect description of Slovenia, because nobody's really paying too much attention to them in terms of because of Ilicic is probably being your best player on that roster, besides Oblak, of course, we have to respect Oblak, but
Benjamin Sesko.
but that's why I think they're the perfect choice to finish second. I think clear number one is England, bar none. Clear number one is England. I think Slovenia second, Denmark third. I think Denmark just weasels into third, and it's one of the stronger third place teams. I honestly think Richard said it best. I don't want to parrot him. I don't want to waste time repeating the same thing. But I put them second in my predictor.
Okay. I like it.
Group D. Richard, I know you said there was another group of death. I don't know if you meant it was this one, because it does look interesting. Poland, Netherlands, Austria, France. Was it this group
you
were referring to? Yeah. Okay. Yes. There you go. This, it's easy to pinpoint France, right, as the group winners, but come on, Poland, Netherlands, and even Austria. If I'm not mistaken, all four of these teams played in the knockout stages last time out in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
Poland did not, but France was there.
They were.
Austria was there.
Everyone's picking Poland, and they choked. That's what it was. Everyone said Lewandowski, and they struggled. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. They choked last tournament. But yeah, let's start with Gianni this time. Gianni, what do you think about this group?
Of Group D we're talking about? This is a tough one. I'm going France, Poland, Netherlands, Austria. I think Poland surprises. I think Poland surprises and they finish second.
Wow.
I have
revenge.
Netherlands didn't quite impress me last tournament, last Euros, and I don't think they're that strong of a team. I don't think they're one of those teams that are they're convincing me that they're going to be number one. I honestly, and I don't think, and because of that, I don't even think they finished second because of it. I think Netherlands are quite overrated, and I'm probably going to get flamed for this, but that's what I believe. So
stick to your beliefs.
I'm sticking to my beliefs.
I'm not going to slander you, but this is a difficult group. I think France does get the first place. Holland. I'm going to call them Holland. Holland. You never know with the manager how they're going to do. They got the talented team, maybe not as talented as France, but who is as talented as France? Austria's got Ralf Rangnick, and they really started playing really well against under Ralf Rangnick, and Poland obviously has a lot of good players on their team. It's difficult to pick there. I think it's probably going to be the closest group in terms of points, just because all these teams are fairly capable of beating the other one. Even France is capable of losing, but I'm going to go France 1, Holland 2, Austria 3, Poland 4. And just because I picked Poland 4 doesn't mean I don't think they're good. I think they're a good team. Holland hasn't, the reason I'm picking Holland over the other two is because the Netherlands, they got some talent on their team. They found ways to play. This is not typically. You think of typical Dutch football. It's beautiful. It's track. It's fast paced. Tiki taka almost. It's not. This is not what it is. But they got players, and they can grind out victories, grind out results. It's not the prettiest way. I'm sure if you go to talk to anybody in the Netherlands, they're going to be like, "This is not typical Dutch football." But hey, they'll take wins at any point because anything can happen as the tournament progresses. So I think if you look at talent wise, it's hard. They're slightly, in my opinion, slightly better than the other two. Austria has a lot of really good players on the team, and I like the way their team is composed more than Poland. So I give them a slight edge over Poland. But this is a really difficult group, I think. And this is, we talk about teams that could capitulate. Honestly, France is capable, but it's unlikely. They've had their, as you mentioned, you talk about Spain had their issues back in the day. France did as well, and they've kind of figured it out lately with this golden generation. So I think Holland's on the way back up. France are there, and I think, Austria and Poland round out the group.
For me, I think Netherlands are, my dark horse favorite to win. But we'll get into this later. But I think France is also my favorite to win overall. So it's tough because these are two of the top teams in the same group. You look back, France, that is one team that you could say they're slower starters at tournaments. They struggle in group stages.
Yeah.
Once they get going in the knockout stage, that's when they go far. So it's going to be interesting. I'll still say Netherlands first, France second. But it could easily go either way. Or for the other teams, between Poland and Austria, it's a bit tougher. Austria's a team that took Italy right to the brink. Euro 2020. They Arnautovic scored, but was ruled offside, and so they took Italy right to the brink of elimination. And they impressed me watching that game. They really impressed me. I don't know if they're the same team. I don't even know if they have the same coach or whatnot. I mean, can't say I watched them. But yeah, Poland, like you said, they are chokers. So on one end you could say, oh, they're probably looking for revenge from last time out, but they just don't have that talent anymore to really convince me. Even Lewandowski, like it's not the Lewandowski of like 2015, right? So for me, Austria third, Poland fourth, and I'll even pencil in Austria as one of the top 4 third place teams. Back, even back to Netherlands. This is a team that lost to Argentina in the quarters of the World Cup, and they had a heartbreak loss. I think it was against the Czech Republic in the last Euros. So this is a team that I'm sure they're hungry, and they're a very young team too, right? So for me, that it's going to be interesting to see what they do, and I think they'll at least start strong and win this group. And then next Group E, Slovakia, Romania, Belgium, Ukraine. I'll be honest. Besides Belgium, it's like I can't say I know too much about about Slovakia, Romania, or Ukraine. You know what? My only memory of Ukraine and Slovakian international tournaments is them. What was it? They beat Italy in 2010 in the last game of the group stage. Was it 3-2 or something?
Marek Hamšík, wasn't he scoring that game?
I forget. Gianni, yeah, he did, eh?
Yes.
Was he even part of Napoli then yet, or no?
Yes, he was.
He was, okay.
Yeah, he was because they got called up and Napoli brought themselves up in 2006. He's been part of Napoli since Serie B, since Serie A.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So I really don't know too much about Croatia, but again, Belgium, they're a team that. Why did I say Croatia? Slovakia. Same colors.
Oof.
Yeah.
Nick just shat on like hundreds and hundreds of years of history right there. all the Balkans are going mad right now.
All the Eastern European countries, they need to get some new colors, man. They're all going with the same colors. What is this?
So we got the UK mad, we got the Balkans mad. What else can we get mad
France.
tonight?
Oh my God. You're losing followers by the minute, damn it.
Yeah.
All 5 of them.
But yeah, Belgium is a team that, I feel like their golden generation has passed. They filled in their golden generation. They didn't get the job done. I don't know if they're the same Belgium as old, but considering their opponents, they could go 9 points. Ukraine's an interesting team. Obviously, everything that's happening in the country, it feels like it's catapulted them a bit. I know they need to win in the playoffs to even get here, and Romania too. Can't say too much. I know too much. My only memory of Romania playing soccer is Euro 2008. That scarf that you're wearing, Richard, when they tied Italy 1-1, and I think Buffon made a penalty save. So, second, third place, it could go either way. I'll even put Ukraine up there just because they have a bit more experience in these tournaments. I think they played in the knockouts last time out. But at the end of the day, it's 3 games. Anything can happen, right?
Yeah, no, it certainly can, and I think this is an interesting group because who do you pick second? I think Belgium. No, they're not the same team as before, but I think under Tedesco they've done well to highlight the strengths, and I think having some players that you have some of the old guard that are still playing, but you have some of the new guard like CDK. Obviously, we know what he's done this year in Serie A. He's obviously still hungry. They got a lot of players there. I think they're comfortably win this group. The question is who finishes in second. I love the Ukraine story and everything that's going on. They're trying to do it for the country and everything. But at some point, that motivation, it takes a lot out of you, Obviously, the emotional toll back home, but just trying to keep that, playing for your country, playing for whatever, playing for pride, eventually it wanes on you and you run out of gas, right? And maybe that's where they're at because I'm as well as they did to qualify for the tournament, I'm not sure that they have enough in the tank left to kind of compete in the tournament. I kind of see them finishing fourth. I think Romania can really surprise them and jump into third place. I think they're a team that not many people know about. Obviously, they have their world class keeper in Radu, right? But no, they have some decent players in the team. Obviously, Dragossin's a name that's going to turn a lot of heads, right? The guy who went for a big move this past year. So they got some decent pieces there. I think they've been playing as a team, and their build up into this tournament has been okay. So I think they'll finish in third. And I got Slovakia finishing second. Some good names, decent names that many people will be familiar with and on their team. And I think they're comfortable to finish second. I think Belgium gets all the points, but I think Slovakia probably finishes easily in second, probably like 6 points. To get out of the group. So yeah, I think Slovakia is probably the cream of the lower ends theirs.
A good amount of Italian players too on Slovakia. Think of Lobotka is the main name, but obviously a couple of guys from Hellas, Salernitana, Cagliari. So
Kuchka.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not good.
Richard, so you mean the cream of the crop?
The cream of the crop rises to
the top. I'm probably gonna, throw people off with this, but I think Ukraine wins the group.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired of saying this is Belgium's year. This is Belgium's year. No, I'm tired of it. Yeah. I'm tired of it. It's never. It always seems to be like their year, and they always tend to screw me over every time I put faith in them. So this time I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm not putting them first. I'm putting them second. I'm actually putting first place Ukraine, second place Belgium, and then third place Slovakia, and then fourth is Romania. Obviously, I think Slovakia's got a lot of good overall players. Not Slovakia, Ukraine. Sorry, Ukraine's got a lot of good overall players that really push them into the first place spot for me. That I just feel like they're just more cohesive as a unit than Belgium is. I think their time is done. I think everyone's like, oh, this is their year. This is their year. It's done. It's done, guys. Let's be honest. They had stronger teams in the past before, and they couldn't do it. Yeah. What's going to change this year? And maybe now that it's actually change, maybe now it's the first time things work out, and I can look like an idiot. But that's basically what I'm going with.
That'd be an amazing story if Ukraine won the group for sure.
Yeah, I think honestly they do. I mean, they had a great run last year. Shevchenko, I think, was a fantastic manager for the team. Mm-hmm. I think he stepped down. He didn't get released. I think he stepped down, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the details to it. But either way,
can't say I know.
Did he go? I think he stepped down to go manage club team. I think again or something.
I believe so. I believe he stepped. Let's actually find. Let me just take a peek. Shevchenko. Just gonna take it. But either way, like he's managing.
He went to Genoa.
But then after that, where did he go?
He's
I don't think he went anywhere.
nowhere.
Oh, he was quitting football for politics. Oh, excuse me.
There you go.
Yeah, but either way, I think he found something in the squad, and the squad themselves started to believe in themselves a bit more. I think this Euro is like you'd be like, you know what? I think they get that first place finish and surprise people.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad call. Yeah, especially Belgium. They're just annoying because every year, like you said, it's easy to say, "Oh, this is Belgium's year," and then they choke. Group F: Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, Czech Republic. So the first time I looked at this group, my first thought was Euro 2008, and then I looked it up, and this was pretty much the same group in Euro 2008. Just switch out Georgia for Switzerland, and that was Group A in Euro 2008. So these teams pretty much, I can't say they know each other because of that, because one player is left from that, and it's Ronaldo from that tournament. But it's just funny to see. This is, again, honestly, another tough group. Georgia, they are the Cinderella story. I think it's their first time ever in the Euros, obviously led by Kvara. But for Portugal, this is is I guess Ronaldo's last run, but I feel like we said that at the World Cup. And Turkey, they're always a team that they could surprise people, but then sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So they're hard to read sometimes. And then obviously Czech Republic, again, they're the team that I probably know the least about on in this group. But between them and Georgia, I'm sure either can make an upset. Like even Portugal, like obviously they're the favorites to win this group, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. I know they do have a new generation now. They're past relying on Ronaldo. They have a deep team, but just something about them, watching them sometimes, it's like what Gattuso says, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Which Portugal is going to show up? Is it going to be the Portugal that went to the quarterfinals in at least the World Cup, or that went to the final in 2016, or is it going to be the Portugal that lost to Belgium in the round of 16 3 years ago? Which Portugal is it going to be? Yeah. So for me, this group is wide open. I'll still say Portugal is going to win, but after that, it's for me, it's even between Turkey and Georgia. Georgia, it's going to be tough for them just because they are such a young team that they have zero experience with this. But you never know. You never know. Maybe they'll just be so energized. And, if there's one team that could, steal everyone's heart this year, maybe this year's Denmark, it's them, it's Georgia. So I'll still say Portugal, Turkey, Georgia, Czech Republic.
Yeah, I think this is the most difficult group for me to pick. Not that they're all like, it's not a group of death by any stretch, but I think just it's a meh group, and it's like you don't know really who to pick in this. I think Portugal should win this group. They're good enough, I think, that they can overcome it with all the talent that they have. The question is, who finishes second, third, and fourth. All these teams, well, Czechia, formerly known as Czech Republic, they got some pretty decent pieces on their team, but like some of them are aged. They're like okay players. Some of them are really good, but I feel like if there's gonna be a surprise in this group, it's Czechia not performing and Georgia finding a way to get above them, just led by Kvara alone, because he just does magical things. We've seen in Napoli, and we've seen him do with Georgia as well. He can sometimes carry the show enough that he can beat some teams, not all teams. This is not the I think Turkey's going to finish second. It's not the Turkey from 2008. What was it? It was Euros 2008 when them and Russia had this marvelous run in the tournament, and when both of them went deep. It's not that team, but there are some really good youngsters on this team and some good veterans. Obviously, Chalano's there, middle of the pack, but they got some youngsters in Yildiz and Gouler who are really, really talented. You cannot overlook them. And they got some older players as well that that can steady the ship. They have a nice mix of old and new. I mean, obviously, guys like Mary de Morel, he's there defensively. He's going to help him out. Obviously, Çalhanoğlu in the midfield there. Cengiz Ünder is a guy who we all familiar with in Serie A, right? He has an attacking talent. This team is not bad at all, honestly, and I think I'm gonna give a shout out to Keenan Karaman too, Schalke player. He had a really great year this year. But I think this Turkish team is good enough to finish second place in this group. It's not the greatest group. I think Czechia is on their way down. I think Georgia is okay. It's mostly because of Kvara, right? And they got another player. His name escapes me for Georgia, who's really good. But I think Turkey of this group is the most talented of those bottom three outside of Portugal. I think they have they can make it tight against Portugal, but it's 1-2 Portugal, Turkey, and then Georgia and Czechia last. So
I'm actually going. Well, I think it's obvious Portugal's first place. I think they take the group because out of all the teams there, they're on paper strongest team. I'm actually going with Georgia for second. I'm going for Georgia for second. I think this is really like a big coming out for party for them. They have so much momentum. They have so much hype about them. They're all like it's their first time. Is it their first time qualifying?
yeah, I think so.
Let me. I should fact check myself on that, but let's just say it is their first time.
I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah,
I think it is their first time qualification.
You feel a bit like Iceland when they first made it. And they
it is. It is.
Yeah, it's just like they have a couple of great players, and I do have a soft spot for Kvaratskhelia, and I think this is going to be a very big demonstration of his talent. I think he has I'm just making assumptions here. It's predictions. We're having fun with it. I think he has a James Rodriguez type of tournament. That's the type of tourney I think he has.
I like it. He's capable. He's capable.
He's totally capable. He has the talent.
Yeah.
I think he has that strong of a tourney. It won't be strong enough for them to make it past the round of 16. But I think it's going to be strong enough for them to get second in the group and then lose to a strong team in the round of 16. I think that's the type of performance that they'll have. And then in third place, I put as a strong third place Turkey.
Did Nicky freeze on us?
Nico, you okay there, bud?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just for my computer's slow. Continue talking though. Everything's good.
Well, I just finished my point. I think we're moving on to
okay.
The third place rankings. No.
Yeah. That's so hard to predict. If you guys remember which teams you predicted to go third, we could do that. But I already forget.
For example, I chose the four that I chose were Netherlands, Croatia, Hungary, and Turkey. Those were the four that I went with.
So does third place make it? Third place makes it?
I think it's 4 third places make it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not 3. I think it's 4 of them. So those are the 4 I decided to go with. I think it's totally fair. I don't really see. I really don't see any out of the other ones. Let's see. Hold on. I have it written down here. Slovakia and Denmark. I don't think they're the ones that they're going to make it through out of the third place teams, given how strong the groups are that they're in. From there, also have predictions to other things, but I don't know. Do we go further than the third place finishes, or we're just saying group stages in this episode?
I think it's easier to just go top 2 because even with third place, it all depends on how many points they get, and it's almost a statement of how strong the group is. You look at Euro 2024. 2020. The third place teams. Teams that went through had 4 points, 4 points, 4 points, 3 points, and then the teams that didn't go through had 3 points and 3 points. So it's all about tiebreakers and all that. So I think that's harder to predict. I wanted to ask who you think will be in the final. Not thinking about the bracket so much because anything could happen, right? On either side of the bracket, any two teams could end up on any side of the bracket. If you guys have the bracket pulled up and you have theory of the two teams all come out on each side, go ahead. For me, I think there's a good possibility that France is in Group D.
Right.
So if France wins Group D, and Germany wins Group A. They're on opposite sides of the bracket. For me, I think that's the final right there. Germany, France. They're on opposite sides. Germany's the home team. They lost out in the semifinals back in 2006. They want to avenge that loss. France lost out in the final in 2006. They want to avenge that loss, so they meet up in Berlin, and France wins it. And for me, I think France is very strong. Obviously, they lost in the World Cup final. They lost to a very good Argentina team. They lost to Messi, but they won the World Cup last time out. And they lost the Euro final. They've just been playing in all these finals that 2 losses and a win, and it feels like 6 years since the World Cup win. It's almost like a new generation for France. They have a lot of young players, so I think they want to get some hardware out of that, and this is their opportunity.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, the 3 teams that jump out to me are favorites. Obviously, Spain, England, and France. There's some second place teams and some other teams like Germany or the Netherlands. Some other teams you could throw in there that could possibly do it, right? Even though Zuri, if all things fall into place, but I don't expect that. If I had to pick a final without looking at the bracket, man, I would go. I'm going to say Spain versus France, not knowing where the bracket is, assuming they're on different sides of the bracket. And I'll say Spain shock France in the final.
Yeah, there's a possibility they end up on the other side if they each win their own group. So there you go.
I actually, Nick, when I did my bracket, basically got to the same conclusion where it's Germany, France in the final, and France wins. Yeah. Because according to the order that I chose, basically my final 4 would be Germany versus Portugal, France versus England, France beating England, and Germany beating Portugal, and then from there, essentially, it moves on to a German-French final, and for France wins it. They're just such a great team, France. It's hard to look at that team, and besides Germany, it's hard to look at them and be like, yeah, how does this team lose? Besides, last Euros, it took penalty shots, and penalty shots, even though we were laughing and having a good time with it, it is a crapshoot. Penalties are a crapshoot, Jan Sommer proved in that tournament that he's a spot kick stopper. He's good at that, and he's done the same in Serie A this year. So that was his bread and butter, and he did well. He's great in that psychological game. So I honestly do believe that that I think France win it this year. They're not going to have any bullshit happen to them, and they should actually win in the final versus Germany.
Yeah, that would be a crazy final, France versus Germany. In Germany, it's always easy to give the home team the advantage, right? But yeah,
imagine if Germany won it. Jeez.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, great for them.
Yeah.
As a German soccer follower, just how good will this tournament be? And I know these are all great stadiums. A lot of the stadiums that hosted the 2006 World Cup, great atmosphere. They love their soccer there in Germany. What do you think that's gonna be like, Richard?
It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be very similar to what we saw in 2006. It's the fans travel. They're so passionate. The Zweite Liga, the Bundesliga second division team, they outdraw their Bundesliga clubs. The passion in that country is ridiculous, and so all the stadiums are gonna be packed out. Obviously, there's a lot of travelers from all around Europe are gonna be there. But they're pushing out for the team. They're gonna try to get them. They want to see their team do well. I think a good tournament for Germany in regards to the fans will be a deep run. Semifinal or maybe quarterfinal. But if you go lose to a big, one of the big teams, but they expect them to go far. I mean, semifinals or bust. Obviously, they would love to win it, but there's a lot of good teams, and there's a lot of talent on this team. So I think expectations are high, but they're subdued. They still have fresh the World Cup in their mind, so they have that back in their mind. They need to get back to where they feel they expect to be. But this is a tournament they could do it at home. We've seen what home cooking can do, and Germany's a good place to do it. So it'll be a good tournament for them, I think.
Yeah, and out of the 10 venues, 9 of them actually hosted games in 2006. So that's pretty interesting. Only one in Dusseldorf. Did not host in 2006. Even looking at where Italy played back in 2006. They start off this tournament in Dortmund in the same stadium where they beat Germany back then in the semifinals. So that's a nice full circle moment for the Azzurri. Gigi Buffon playing in that game, assistant coach now with the Azzurri. Lastly, guys, where do you see Italy going? How far do you see them going in this tournament?
The big what if, right? I think they need to get out of the group stage. I think if they make it to the quarterfinals, that's a great tournament. As good as this tournament is, this is the most difficult tournament on the planet. If they get to the quarterfinals, I think that's a good tournament. If they get out of the group stage, it's a failure. I mean, they got there still at the tournament, but they need to get out of the group stage. And I think if they can get a result in around 16, even better. But I think quarterfinals would be a fantastic occasion by them.
I predicted the same. I said quarterfinals. I think they because like according to my table here, let's see. I'm just gonna say it for the podcast to see if I actually made a good prediction or not. I think in round of 16 they play Switzerland and they win, but then in the quarterfinals they face England and England gets their revenge and England beats Italy. So that's basically what my table looks like. They lose to England in the quarterfinals. I'm gonna be a bit more specific. Let's see if I'm right. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, and I think even if you look at the bracket, Italy, if they win the group, they play a third place team, and if they finish second in the group, they actually play another second place team. So they kind of locked out that they don't have to. If they finish second, they don't have to play a first place team. But it would be there'd be runner up Group B, it would be runner up Group A, so it could be runner up between Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. So obviously, okay, there's a possibility that they could play Germany, let's say, in that position. But if Germany wins the group and Italy finishes second, whether it's Scotland, Hungary, or Switzerland, it's three teams that Italy could beat in that quarters. Yeah. Sorry, in the round of 16. But I'm on the same boat as you guys. I think quarters is realistic, at least to just get there. Once they get there, if they lose, depending who they lose to and how, I think it'll be mixed emotion. I feel like for people who actually watch Serie A and who watch this national team, know it's a period of struggle for them, right? This is not the same team that went into the Euros 30-plus unbeaten 3 years ago, where we even predicted semifinals or finals. And, for maybe fans that are a bit more casual and just say, oh, yeah, they won the last Euros, they should go far this time. Like, they're in for a disappointment, to be honest. This is not the same Italy. I'm not convinced, but at the end of the day, anything could happen. We'll leave our criticism to the end. If they win and everything's all good. Well, if they lose earlier than quarterfinals, that's where we could criticize. But yeah, I'm pretty excited though. I'm pretty excited, and we appreciate you coming on, Richard. Do you have big viewing party plans for the tournament?
We'll see. I mean, definitely want to watch the first game. But we'll see how it goes. Depending how busy work is. But I definitely like to get out some of the parties. I know the Milan Club DC that they've been talking about some of the games and stuff. So I'll see where I can watch the game. I'll definitely, if they go further, I'll find some bar to get to. I'll do it. But the group stage will be mostly home viewing for the most part, I think. So.
Yeah, fair enough. So that'll do it for us. Where can people find you on social media, Richard?
You can follow me at R_KHARMAN, but more importantly, follow us at Serie A Sitdown, all across social media. That's both Frank and I on our podcasts. Yeah.
And for us, the Calcio Guys, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at the Calcio Guys. All of our podcasts are on all podcasting platforms. I'm sorry, usually Adriano does this part, but that'll do it for us. Stay tuned on social media on all these platforms for all of our coverage for Euros, and more importantly, Forza Azzurri, and thanks for listening.
Bye.